As you know by now, when an organization decides to go Agile and start using any of the Agile methodologies, one of the key changes they need to undertake as an organization is to start embracing the Agile mindset, as described in the Agile Manifesto. If you read through the Agile Manifesto thoroughly and carefully, you will realize that in order to achieve many of the values and principles in the Agile Manifesto, an organization needs to put in place certain structural or physical elements. In this lecture, I want to discuss the structural or physical elements or ingredients that need to be incorporated or put in place by an organization in order for it to adopt pretty much any Agile process or methodology. Small and cross-functional teams. As stated in Principles 1, 3, and 7 of the Agile Manifesto, the goal of Agile teams is to deliver working software, to do so in every sprint, and to satisfy customer through early and frequent delivery of software. A team will not be able to do these things unless it has within the team all the skills needed to define, build, and deploy software. In other words, unless a team is cross-functional, it will be very hard, if not impossible, to deliver working software in every sprint. So that is why cross-functional teams is a key ingredient for Agile. But why small teams? A small team reduces coordination issues. It allows for efficient communications, and it allows team members to build rapport with each other quickly. And these things enable a team to become more nimble and more agile. Stable and balanced teams. An unstable team is one where team members keep changing frequently. This is disruptive as new team members need time to adjust to the team, get used to the existing ways, and learn the local working agreements. This causes interruptions and reduces team velocity. Hence, organizations must try to ensure stable teams so interruptions and disruptions due to team churn are avoided. Now let's understand the need for a balanced team. A balanced team means that there is an adequate ratio among developers, testers, and UX engineers in a team. A balanced team ensures that there is a match between the UX designing capacity, the coding capacity, and the testing capacity of a team. Consider this example of an unbalanced team. Let's say that a team has 5 developers and only 1 experienced tester. In such a case, the lone tester, no matter how skilled he or she is, will simply not be able to test all the code written by the developer, since 5 developers are bound to write a large amount of code in the sprint. This will lead to a lot of untested code at the end of the sprint. In other words, in such a case, there will be a lot of non-working software at the end of the sprint, which, as we all know, is against a key Agile principle. Another example of an unbalanced team is when, let's say, there is only 1 UX design engineer allocated to more than 3 teams. So hope these examples clarify why teams need to be balanced. There can be other ways as well that a team can be unbalanced. A typical ratio that is used in the industry when it comes to having a balanced software development team is 1 tester for every 2 to 3 developers and 1 UX engineer for every 2 or maybe 3 teams, where each team is around 5 to 7 people. Again, this is just general industry-wide guidelines that have been observed. Again, a balanced team is needed so that there is enough testing capacity to test all the code that is written by the developers, and that there is enough UX mock-up producing capacity so as to match the coding capacity of the developers, and vice versa. This ingredient is key to achieving principles 1, 3, 7, and 8 of the manifesto. Properly written user stories. As you know, in any of the Agile methodologies, requirements are described as user stories. One cannot do Agile development with waterfall style requirements. This is because waterfall style requirements and user stories are fundamentally different. User stories are written from the point of view of the users. They define value from the customer's point of view. And each user story aims to create a fully working functionality. whereas waterfall requirements are written from the point of view of the system and aim to create individual widgets that need to be integrated at the very end of the software development lifecycle to actually work. Hence, one needs properly written user stories to practice any Agile methodology. This ingredient or element helps to achieve the very essence of the Agile manifesto, which is creating and delivering value to end user or customer. Writing proper user stories is not as easy as it seems. To know more about how to write great user stories, please check out my other course on Udemy, Authoring Elegant and Meaningful Agile User Stories. Adequate infrastructure. This ingredient or element helps realizing principles 5 and also helps with principles 1 and 3. In order to realize these principles and gain the most from any Agile process, organizations need to put in place stable and reliable environments, such as development environment, testing environment, staging environment, etc. This infrastructure is crucial since developers and testers cannot do their jobs without such environments being available in a reliable manner, period. So environments is one of the key infrastructure aspects or items needed for Agile adoption, rather for successful Agile adoption. The other key infrastructure item that is also needed for successful Agile adoption is continuous integration and continuous delivery tools, also known as CI/CD tools. These tools allow automated code check-in and automated code deployment to various environments. This will enable developers to continuously deploy new code throughout the day to testers and other environments, thereby increasing team agility. It is common for Agile teams to deploy code to testing environment multiple times a day and to staging environment at least once per sprint. You cannot do this unless you have CI/CD tools. CI/CD is a very vast topic, hence out of scope for this course. Test automation tools. Once again, in order to satisfy customer through early and continuous delivery of software and to deliver working software frequently, regression testing must be done in every sprint. As you may know, the purpose of regression testing is to ensure that all new code or functionality written in a sprint has not broken any previously working functionality or code. It is impossible to do regression testing manually in each and every sprint and keep up. You can only do so if you automate regression testing, and for that you need test automation tools. Collaboration tools. If you look at the first value statement and the sixth principle in the manifesto, they both allude to collaboration as being a key ingredient for successful Agile adoption. In order to get the most out of any Agile process, close collaboration and communication among team members is a must. But since most companies have distributed teams spread across the globe, how do you encourage collaboration with as much face-to-face communication as possible? The answer is collaboration tools, such as video conferencing applications, such as WebEx, GoToMeeting, Skype, etc., and teleconferencing facilities. So that is why collaboration tools are a key physical or structural ingredient for Agile adoption. Willing participation by end users. Again, as you know, Agile is very end user or customer centric process. As mentioned in the Agile manifesto, collaborating with customer and working with business people who represent the customer is a must to adopt Agile successfully. In order for this to happen, you need willing participation in the Agile process by customers and or business users, whichever is feasible in the organization. They can participate in two ways in the process. One, provide input to the product owner so the backlog reflects their needs and expectations. And two, participate in the sprint demos to review the software that was built in that sprint and provide feedback. This is a typical format of participation of customers or business users in the Agile framework, such as Scrum, XP, Kanban, and Scrumban. So that covers the 7 structural or physical elements that need to be put in place by an organization in order for it to successfully adopt Agile. Now, before I wrap up this lecture, I do want to point out that the elements or ingredients that I've discussed in this lecture are implied in the Agile Manifesto. But for many of you, it may not be easy to discover this. And that is my intention in this lecture, to make some of the implied ideas in the Agile Manifesto more obvious. Please don't take this to mean that the elements or the ingredients I've discussed here are the only things mentioned in the Agile Manifesto. The Agile Manifesto implies other key aspects as well in its values and principles. I have chosen to focus on these 7 elements or ingredients as I believe that these are the most fundamental structural elements that are required to rapidly adopt and successfully adopt any Agile practice.